Welcome to this explainer, everyone. I am so excited you're here. Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey straight into the heart of artificial intelligence. We're going to demystify how machines make incredibly complex decisions using one of the most intuitive, visual, and honestly foundational algorithms out there, the decision tree. Whether you're a college student diving into supervised machine learning for the very first time, or just someone curious about the code that essentially runs our world, this explainer is absolutely for you.
So, I want you to think about this for a second. How exactly does a machine, built purely on code and cold mathematics, make a complex decision that actually rivals human logic? How does an algorithm look at an absolute mountain of raw data and confidently make a concrete choice?
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll be covering the divide and conquer strategy, the anatomy of a decision tree, classification versus regression, the bias variance trade-off, real-world ethical challenges, and finally, mitigating algorithmic AI bias.
Starting right off with Section 1, the divide and conquer strategy. Before we even look at a decision tree, we really need to establish where it lives in the broader AI landscape. Decision trees fall under a category called supervised learning. Basically, this means we give the computer a labeled dataset, which is just a bunch of historical examples where we already know the right answer. The system learns by comparing its own predictions against these known outcomes, and it tweaks its internal rules until it minimizes its errors. Think of it like studying for a big test with the answer key sitting right in front of you.
The crucial thing to understand here is that a decision tree functions almost exactly like the game of 20 questions. Imagine playing that game. Your very first question is usually super broad, right? Something like, is it an animal? And that single answer instantly cuts your possibilities in half. A decision tree works the exact same way. It looks at all the data and asks a sequence of recursive questions. Every single answer narrows down the possibilities until it reaches a final, confident decision.
Moving right along to Section 2, anatomy of a decision tree.
So how do we actually build this thing? Well, it happens through a step-by-step recursive process. First, we have feature selection. The algorithm looks at all the available variables and picks the one that separates the data the best. Next is best split selection, where it finds the exact threshold, say an age or a specific price, that minimizes the error. Finally, we get node splitting, where the data is literally divided into two daughter nodes based on that threshold. And it just does this over and over again. This brilliantly illustrates what happens at one of those splits. Notice this internal decision node here. It's performing a univariate test, meaning it's looking at just one single feature and checking it against a chosen mathematical threshold. This right here is the exact moment the algorithm evaluates the data and makes its binary choice. Once that threshold is tested, you can see how the data flows down the branches. Depending on whether the answer to the node's question was yes or no, the data gets routed left or right. It iteratively works its way down these pathways until it hits the end of the line, which we call a terminal leaf node. And that leaf node holds the model's final prediction. Next up, Section 3, classification versus regression trees. Now, decision trees generally come in two different flavors, and here is the stark contrast between them. Classification trees predict categories, like male or female, or approved or denied. They make their splits by trying to minimize things like Gini impurity. That's just a fancy mathematical way of saying they want to make each final group as pure or unmixed as possible. Regression trees, on the other hand, predict continuous numerical values, like a future stock price. They split the data to minimize variance, basically aiming to group numbers together that are as close as possible. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is looking at a fully built regression tree with a depth of 4. The algorithm has chopped a complex dataset into these disjoint, homogeneous regions down at the leaf nodes. Notice how each of those blue bubbles represents an average numerical value for the data points that landed there. It's an incredibly transparent, easy-to-understand way to see exactly how the model got to its final prediction. Let's pivot to Section 4, the bias variance trade-off. In machine learning, this is the ultimate balancing act. If our tree is too shallow or oversimplified, we get high bias. The model makes broad assumptions and just completely underfits the data. But if we let the tree grow indefinitely, asking hundreds of hyperspecific questions, we get high variance. The model becomes overly complex and overfits the training data. Basically, it just memorizes the random noise in our training set, which means it's going to perform terribly when it sees new, real-world data. So, how do we stop our trees from growing out of control and overfitting? Well, data scientists use practical techniques like pre-pruning, where they set hard rules to stop the tree from growing early, or post-pruning, where they let it grow out and then trim back the overly complex branches. But honestly, the most powerful method is using ensembles, like random forests. Instead of relying on one massive, super deep tree, we build hundreds of smaller trees and average all their predictions together. It's a fantastic way to dramatically reduce that dangerous variance. Moving into Section 5, Real-World Ethical Challenges. We have to talk about this because the stakes here are incredibly high. Look at this stark statistic from our sources. Facial recognition systems continue to misclassify women and people of color at rates up to 30% higher than white men. This is the harsh, real-world reality of algorithmic bias. Remember supervised learning from earlier? These systems are completely dependent on the quality of their historical training data. If the data we feed it is biased, the machine's decisions are going to be biased. It's that simple. When algorithms optimize purely for mathematical efficiency and ignore fairness, they can deeply entrench societal inequality. We've seen this happen. Amazon literally had to scrap a recruitment AI because it learned to penalize female resumes. Predictive policing tools have disproportionately targeted minority neighborhoods because they were trained on flawed historical arrest records. And in healthcare, diagnostic models have actually underperformed for minority populations. These black box decisions can have devastating real-world consequences for actual people. Which brings us to our final section, Section 6, Mitigating Algorithmic AI Bias. To fix the bias problem, we first have to accurately categorize it. Here we have the 4 primary types of bias. It could be data bias, where the trading set itself is flawed from the start. It could be algorithmic bias, rooted in how the model optimizes its rules. It could be human bias, creeping into the initial development phase. Or bias in deployment, where a model is used in a context it just wasn't originally designed for. Let's move to the next slide and see how this builds into an actual, actionable solution applied across the entire machine learning lifecycle. Fighting inequality in AI isn't just a one-time patch. During data collection, we use things like data augmentation to ensure diverse representation. During feature engineering, we apply fairness-aware feature selection. And finally, around deployment, we use continuous bias audits and explainable AI to ensure the model isn't secretly relying on discriminatory factors. It takes work at every single stage. And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. We've journeyed from the basic mathematical splits of a decision tree all the way to the complex societal impacts of algorithmic bias. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. As AI continues to automate our world, how will we ensure its decisions are not just mathematically sound, but fundamentally fair? Because ultimately, the journey of a machine's decision requires both technical accuracy and our human responsibility. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and keep asking great questions.